Hello and welcome to how to set up your CloudBox Origin model. Before we begin, thank you so much for subscribing and purchasing your very own CloudBox unit. To keep things brief, we quickly listed the table of contents for this video with timestamps, so you can go ahead and skip to a certain part of the video if you need particular help with something. To better help you, we created an entire video that shows how to set up your CloudBox, troubleshooting, as well as some tips and pointers. If you are still having some issues with your CloudBox unit or need help setting it up, please contact us at support@cloudboxapp.com. Before we begin, it's good to know the ins and outs of your CloudBox Origin model. On the top of the container, you have a removable O-ring, which keeps the container lid tight and air sealant. You then have the lid, which is connected to friction hinges, which will hold its place if you leave it open. And then underneath the container module, you will find the RFID chip, which is used to store information of the container. On the base side, you have two very important characteristics. The LCD display, which shows all inventory changes of the container, as well as the base slider, which is used to remove and add the container module. For the purpose of this video, the container is called the container module and the base is called the base module. Once you've received your CloudBox unit, go ahead and open up the box, removing the base and setting it on a flat and even surface, as well as the container, which we will use for later. Before starting the setup process, please remember to log into the mobile app using the login credentials that was sent to you by us to your email. Once you are logged in and good to go ahead and plug the base into the USB power cable. At this point, you will see the front LCD display turn on. Please remember to always follow what the LCD display says before doing anything with the container or base modules. It is important to follow every message the LCD display gives you so that the device works accurately and correctly. Now open up the mobile app and click the plus sign on the bottom right. Now click on Add Base. You will now see a QR code reader appear on the mobile app, which you will use to then scan the QR code on the base module. The mobile app will then ask you which base you would like to connect to. This should be pretty easy because the 4 digits that is displayed on the mobile app will also be displayed on the bottom left of the LCD screen. You'll know that the base is connected and paired to the mobile app when the Bluetooth icon appears on the LCD display. Once you have connected to the base successfully, it will say connected in the mobile app. At this point, you can now choose a name for the base, the placement, and location. To keep it easy, imagine the location is where or which store this CloudBox unit will be at, whereas the placement is where in the store is this CloudBox located. So an easy example of this would be if I'm working at John Smith's grocery store and I wanted to know if my CloudBox container was in backstock or the front where I'm selling, well then I can just label the placement as backstock so that every time a container is sitting on this base, it will know, hey, I'm at John Smith's grocery store, but I am in the backstock. This is a good way to keep everything organized within your store so you always know where within your building the inventory is. And if you're a business owner with multiple locations, then you want to know which location this container is at, whether it's at John Smith's grocery store or Jane Doe's grocery store. Now finally, connect the mobile app to your Wi-Fi network. If you do not see your Wi-Fi listed, go ahead and enter it manually by entering the name of the Wi-Fi network and the password, all case sensitive, right here. Once the base is connected to Wi-Fi, you'll see the red Wi-Fi icon turn white and the base appear inside the Bases tab on the mobile app. You should see it say green. Green means it is online and active, red means it is disconnected and inactive. If you need to update the firmware of the base module, you can do so by clicking the Update Firmware button. Before setting up any containers, you will first need to have a base module active and connected to the Wi-Fi. Go to your mobile app and click on the plus sign on the bottom right and hit Add Container. You will see the QR code camera appear. You can use this to scan the QR code on the back of the container module. All the bases active on your account will appear now. Find a base module that does not have a container module on it that is currently actively listed. You can use the mobile app to compare the 4 digits listed to the 4 digits that is listed to the left of the LCD display on the base. Pay attention to the LCD display to ensure that you are following the steps properly. Once the LCD display says ready for container, you can now add your new container module onto the base module. You will know that everything is working properly when the LCD display on the base module reads new container set up in the mobile app. You can now pick the name of the container, ideally the items that are being stored within it, to keep everything organized. The scan barcode button is optional and is used by businesses in the cannabis industry. If you use BioTrack or Metric as a state-mandated software, you can go ahead and use this to scan the Metric ID tracking tag, and it will assign the container to that Metric ID or BioTrack tag, so that you can update the inventory in your BioTrack or Metric account using the button on the web portal instantly. If you are not in the cannabis industry, then just go ahead and ignore this step. After you have successfully named your container, it will now ask you if you want to enable unit mode. If the items being stored within the container are not identical in weight, select Do Not Enable Unit Mode. If, however, the items being stored within the container all have an identical weight and shape, then go ahead and select Enable Unit Mode. This will change the container from weight mode to unit mode to display the amount of units within the CloudBox rather than the entire weight total. It will ask you to now insert the units within the container. For this tutorial, we will be using poker chips as they have an identical weight. We will then put 10 poker chips within the container so the mobile app will get the average unit weight. The more units that can be placed into the container module, the more accurate the individual unit weight will be within the mobile app. This is especially true for items that may be lighter in weight. The previous container weight, the container's name, the tracking ID number, and the amount of units, if applied, are all stored within this RFID chip, which is at the bottom of the container module. Think of an RFID chip as the chip on your debit card that stores all your information. This now allows you to mix and match any container module with any base. You can now swap out each container with different bases, and the information will be pulled from the RFID chip at the bottom of the container. As soon as the container module has been read by the base, it will automatically send the updated weight or units to the web portal. So if you wanted to have 60 containers sitting on your shelf with one base module to do your inventory, you can simply remove the containers off the shelf and slide it into the base module. Repeat it 60 times and you can quickly do your inventory that way. However, if you wanted the live weight readings, you would need to have one container module on each base at all times, unless you're moving a container module from one base to another. Now that you have successfully added a base module and container module, repeat the last steps so that each one of your CloudBox units are fully set up and ready to be used. To access the web portal, go to cloudboxapp.com and select the web portal on the top right. After logging in, you will see a dashboard similar to this. We are constantly updating it and making changes. At first, you will see the Reports tab, which will show all the transactions that has happened based off a certain criteria, such as date, the device itself, or location. Using our poker chip example, you can see on 2/26 at 11:30 a.m., the poker chip container at Texas HQ increased by 13 units, which can be reflected here by the graph, or on the timestamp. These timestamps are to alert you when certain items or weight has changed, if inventory has been added, or if containers are active or inactive. You can go ahead and sort by the name of the columns by pressing these arrows, which will sort by ascending or descending. For timestamp earliest to latest, the container name will sort by the name of the containers, the location will sort by the actual name of locations, weight, units, etc. If you wanted to see a certain amount of transactions during a certain time period, you can come up here to the date, where you can choose the last 24 hours, you can choose the last 3 days, you can choose the last 7 days, last month, all time, or you can pick a date, a specific range, or amount of days. If you want to look at the amount of transactions based off a certain container, you can come up here to select device. For this example, we did poker chips, so we'll look at the poker chips. If you wanted to see all the inventory at a specific location, let's say you're a business owner and you have certain stores all over a city, then you can come up here to select location. For this example, we use John Smith's store to see all the inventory currently at John Smith's store and the transactions that have happened. If you have containers set in unit mode, you'll be able to swap between unit and weight mode to show the amount of weight and the amount of units within each container. However, if you only have a container set in weight mode, you won't be able to access the unit mode or see it up here on the top left. If I wanted to leave notes pertaining to a certain transaction, I can come on down here to the notes section and press this little plus button. In the top right, we have two buttons, an integrations button and an export CSV button. If I wanted to go ahead and export all of this data that I currently see on my screen, I can come up here and press the export CSV file, which will take all these columns and data and turn it into a comma-separated value file, which you can then integrate or import into Excel sheets or other softwares. If I wanted to get more data, I can just come up here to last month and then export the CSV again. If you are in the cannabis industry and are using a tracking ID that was set during the container setup process, pressing this button right here will send all current inventory levels, depending on if it's in unit or if it's by weight, directly to BioTrack or other state-mandated software or POS systems. This eliminates the amount of hours and money spent counting and reporting inventory, making sure it's reported accurately. In the container section, you can see all the containers that are listed. You can go ahead and sort by container name, the location of the container, the current weight, the amount of units, the last time it was updated, the last base it was on, the base's location, the container ID, the tracking ID, which is our version of the metric tag or BioTrack ID. You can go ahead and search also by name or location. If you click on these three dots, you can set an alert. For example, if I wanted to set an alert to be reminded when this container hits 100 grams, I can go here and put 100 grams. If this container shouldn't have more than 150 grams, then I can go ahead and set the threshold here and press save. This toggle right here is for UFO mode. UFO alerts are alerts that are sent to you when a container that is set in unit mode that has items inside that are not supposed to be there. The bases tab is very similar to containers tab. You can sort by the base name, the base ID, the location, the placement, the hardware ID, when it was last active, and if unit mode has been enabled or disabled. For users, this is where you can see all the users that are currently added to your organization. There are three different types of groups. You have admin, owner, and member. Each kind of group has their own permissions and restrictions associated to their account. You can add a new user by coming up here and pressing the Add User tag, and it's giving them a certain permission role. A little tip is that all the alerts that are sent from containers are directly sent to this admin email. Feel free to change it so that the alerts are sent to a different email. For BioTrack credentials, these are the credentials and login used to log into your BioTrack account. In the future, we will have it for all integrations, where you can log into BioTrack or Metric or other POS systems as you choose. This is so that you can simply push your inventory in real time directly to BioTrack. If you set up a container module and for some reason on the LCD display reads a weight reading or says that there's units inside when it's supposed to be empty, that means that the weight of the container was not read properly during the setup process. This is a very easy fix. All you have to do is open up your mobile app, go to the container module, press edit, empty out the container from any and all extra materials, and click reweigh container, and let the mobile app reweigh the container so it gets a new accurate weight reading. From time to time, scales will need to be taired, which means that it is reset to its true 0 point. In order for you to tear your CloudBox, all you have to do is remove a container module from a base module. The LCD display will then say it is now ready for a container. You can now put the container back on. If you lean the container lid against the wall, it will change the weight readings if you are removing or adding inventory. However, once the lid is shut, the inventory will once again be accurate. To fix this, simply keep the friction hinges with the lid open, not touching any wall, and feel free to keep it any position you so choose. This now concludes the how to set up your CloudBox Origin model tutorial. If you are still needing help, please don't hesitate to reach out to support@cloudboxapp.com. We hope you enjoy your CloudBox and value your feedback. If you have any ideas for new features or new software updates, please don't hesitate to reach out.